Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Subhan Tariq. I am an attorney in New York City with an office in Midtown. I sue banks and the credit reporting agencies every day for a living. Banks are like temples of riba, and I have devoted my life towards fighting the banks. Alhamdulillah. So today I am here to talk to you guys about Bitcoin, the anti-riba monetary protocol. I will not be talking about price action or predictions or anything like that. I will just be focusing on the actual protocol of money. And so we'll start with just a basic question. Don't worry about the slides. The slides actually, the words on the slide should actually just say, what is money? That was the revised slide. So money is a topic that is very uncomfortable to talk about or to even listen to. Money is the thing that I paid with to pay for gas on the way here and the tolls. My money is the thing that we are all going after to try to, attain more of it, to get more money. But the real question is, what is money, right? At a base fundamental protocol level, the question you ask is, what is money? And money is just what you use to pay for a good or a service. Okay? Money is just the medium of exchange that you use to purchase a good or a service. But also, people use money as a form of savings, right? So I visit Pakistan, and when I'm in Pakistan, people don't save their money in rupees, they save their money in dollars. And they are trying to accumulate more dollars because that's what they believe money is. They believe money is actually dollars, and that is the perception of the world around us. We are told that dollars are money. And it's also a unit of account, right? Money is a unit of account. The amount of money, the number that's actually in your bank account is just a number. It's just a unit of account. That is what you use to delineate these transactions. And so the origins of money and money, the real answer, the real thing that should say on the slide is, it depends. Because money can be lots of different things. And actually, this is a great time for me to stop and say a great disclaimer. So I am an attorney. I am not your attorney. This is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. This is not spiritual advice. This is not religious advice. This is just me giving you an educational presentation only, okay? What you determine to do with this educational material is up to you. And you should take this and try to ponder upon what the education that I'm giving you, and then try to expand your knowledge accordingly. So money has been different things throughout time. The Dutch purchased Manhattan Island from the Native Americans in beads, B-E-A-D-S, beads, because at that time, that is what money was. And at other times, other things have been money, like seashells, like other commodities have been money. And most commonly throughout history, though, the thing that has been money has been gold and silver, right? That is what we have been kind of told that has been money. So for thousands and thousands of years, gold was money. And okay, gold was money. And the reason why gold was money is because it was the thing that solved the coincidences of two wants, okay? So if I have goats and I want to buy shoes, I have to find someone to trade the goats for the shoes. But if the shoe guy doesn't want goats and he wants umbrellas, then I have to go and try to trade my goats for the umbrellas to get to the shoes. However, gold solved this issue amongst the people because everyone wanted gold. Gold was scarce, gold was portable, gold was difficult to find, and everyone wanted it. And it was the same commodity, it was the same thing across time and space to the different people. So the 1 ounce of gold was 1 ounce of gold anywhere in the world. It was the same 1 ounce of gold. So that is what ultimately people decided that was what money was, because that is what gold was. And there were strong properties that allowed gold to win this race to be money. And those things are divisibility, durability, fungibility, portability, scarcity, and verifiability. And you can, if you want to, you can take a picture, you don't really need to. The thing that you need to keep in mind is that it was easily divided, right? It was very durable across the space, so you didn't have to worry about it disintegrating. It's portable, I could take it with me. It was scarce. Scarce is the thing that really drives up gold value even today. I'm a gold investor. I've been buying gold since it was $1,200 an ounce, and gold is now $3,700 an ounce. And, I'm happy, but really, that's great. In 7-8 years, my money went up 3 times. But depending on how much you think about, if you value other things, you realize that it's actually not as much, and gold probably has a lot more way to go. And then verifiability, that it's easy to verify that the gold is the gold. Money is good to transact across time and space. And so what is money now? What is money now? That is, actually, I'll skip this. What is money now? This is a history of fiat money. So money now is the US dollar, right? The US dollar is what has been decided to be money. And across time and space right now, that is what is being used as money, right? Money is the US $100 bill that's in my pocket that I can use to transact every day. However, the dollar itself has lost 99% of its purchasing power in the last 100 years. So since the Federal Reserve was created in 1912, 1915, the dollar has lost tremendous amount of purchasing power. And just this year, the dollar has lost more than 10% of its purchasing power just since the start of this year. And so we are seeing a tremendous amount of decay of the value of your dollar. And that is why you see that, the things that you try or that you want to buy that are fixed in commodity price, right? So like eggs, there's only so many eggs. So when you just print lots of dollars, the value of eggs just goes up, right? Along with there's other issues like there's a bird flu or whatever. But if you're going to buy farm-raised, pasture-raised eggs, like I prefer to get the best eggs possible, they're $10 a dozen now. So, that's because the dollar has lost value and the farmers need more money just to keep up because the amount of things that they can buy with those same amount of dollars has decreased. Okay? So, but also at a protocol level, your US dollars are based entirely on riba. Okay? And as we've been talking about before, there's people talking about banks, and I was cautioned, don't attack the banks. I'm not here to attack the banks, but this is how the system works. You deposit $100, 90% of that gets loaned out, 10% goes to reserve, 90% gets loaned out, and this fractional reserve banking is the way that the system operates. Okay, and the loans require interest, but this is actually the way that the system actually operates. The way that money actually comes into existence today is not that the gold gets mined. It is that the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, prints the money, adds the money into the spreadsheet, okay, just adds the money into the spreadsheet, and then loans that same fake printed spreadsheet money to the US government at an interest rate, and then tells the US government, you owe us this money back plus interest. But this money is all fake and all made up at its very core protocol root level. Where did the money actually come from? There is no such thing as a free lunch. The money has to come from somewhere. You cannot just poof and it exists. No. When they add more monetary units into the spreadsheet, that dilutes the value of the other holders of the spreadsheet. So as they add more money into the spreadsheet, all of us collectively get poorer because our money buys less things. And yes, the unit of account, the dollar that's in my unit of account is the same $1. However, my purchasing power has decreased. And now I have become poorer, right? At a protocol level, the protocol at the US dollar level is made to make you poorer because they will just print more and more money. And they don't even need to print the money. They just add it into a spreadsheet at a just core fundamental protocol level. That is how the money works. I know because I'm an attorney and I sue the banks for a living every day. That's how it works. Okay? So the consequences of riba, you guys all know this. This is fighting a war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am not here on behalf of a bank or a financial institution. I'm not here to sell you a product. I'm not here to give you anything. I'm here only for educational purposes. Bitcoin Majlis is an educational nonprofit. I'm here on a complete volunteer basis. I woke up this morning early to get here just as you did. I drove hours away from New York City. The consequences of riba, you know, is a moral hazard and capital destruction, lower interest rate. You know, the main problem with riba is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, don't do it, right? You don't want to do it. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you, don't do it. It is like fighting a war with Allah, right? And I believe that there are two core fundamental problems in the world. Number one, that humanity is at war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of riba. And number two, which I believe is the cause of the humiliation of the Muslims, that Muslims, we don't give zakat properly. Okay? These are my issues. And so I will leave it at that. It's Islamic banking. I don't want to talk about anything because then we're just going to get me in trouble. You guys know, everybody, even the Islamic bank people are talking about the so-called Islamic banks, right? Even they are referring to themselves, their whole industry, as so-called. So that's just enough. You can just think for yourself there. So the gold standard, coming back to a gold standard, it's very tough. You know, I was just talking about it outside. Earlier this year, I was in Pakistan. No need to read the slide. It's kind of boring. Earlier this year, I was in Pakistan, and I had a bar of gold that I took with me because I was planning to go for Umrah. And as I was getting to the airport in Pakistan, you have to go to security even before you even enter the airport. That's how it works in Karachi. So you show your ticket, you go through one round of security, then you're even then allowed to go to your check-in at your flight because they don't want people to just show up and try to get into the airport. And so as I scanned my bag, they said, "Sir, you can't take this. You have gold with you." And I said, "What do you mean? It's just gold." They said, "No, go look at the prohibited item list. And the number one item on the prohibited item list in the Karachi airport is gold bullion. You are not allowed to take gold outside of Pakistan." So actually my gold is stuck in Pakistan right now. So that is a problem with gold. And so enter Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin is a decentralized peer-to-peer electronic cash system without a central server or issuer. At the protocol level, it is decentralized. No one party, no one institution, no one country, no one government, no one person controls the network. There is absolute digital scarcity. When you think of something digital, you think that cannot be scarce. Something digital is inherently not scarce. However, Bitcoin solves this, that you cannot copy it, you cannot edit it, you cannot manipulate it, you cannot take it from someone. It is only a push-only transaction. There is no ACH, there is no deduction, there is no automatic withdrawal system. There are only push transactions. That's how gold works, right? Gold works with, I hand you the gold, you have the gold, that's it. That is the entire transaction. That's how Bitcoin works. And Bitcoin consists of a network of nodes and miners. Nodes are anyone who can download the software and run it on their computer. It's a decentralized software, so you can monitor the transactions that are occurring every day and everywhere around the world. So, and then miners, there are a proof of work. There's proof of work. And for those of you guys who are new to this industry, there's a very big difference between proof of work and proof of stake. I am someone who would argue that proof of stake is not halal enough, and I'm happy to have those discussions. I think that protocols like Solana and Ethereum that are proof of stake are riba-based systems at a protocol level, and happy to have that discussion later. but the proof of work network expends real energy to mine hash, and then the entire code is open source and transparent. And one Bitcoin is divisible into 100 million satoshis. Bitcoin is a protocol similar to what you think of TCP/IP or HTTPS. This is not something that is in dispute. Okay, this is not something that you can have an opinion on. This is not something that is like in controversy or people are fighting to try to make their Bitcoin the best, right? There is only one Bitcoin, there is only one gold, and at its core, Bitcoin is a monetary protocol. Okay, it is not, and I'm still not talking to you about money here, the price of it. It is at its core, Bitcoin at its core is a monetary protocol. It is you know how I was talking about earlier with the Federal Reserve, and they have a spreadsheet and you can add numbers to the spreadsheet. Bitcoin is similar in that it is a spreadsheet. There are only 21 million units in the spreadsheet, and the only function is to move value from one cell to another cell. That is it. There is no other thing going on with Bitcoin. It is just a spreadsheet that has 21 million units in the spreadsheet, and each cell, each address has value in the spreadsheet, and the only function of Bitcoin is to move value from one cell to another cell on the spreadsheet. There is no other function, okay? And so the question you want to ask yourself is, do I want to be on a monetary protocol like the dollar that has an unlimited supply and they can add money into the spreadsheet, or do I want to move to a monetary protocol that is limited in supply and there's only 21 million units ever that are going to exist into the spreadsheet, and I would like to have as much value on that spreadsheet as I can at any time? Understood? So Bitcoin is a monetary protocol. And there's a perception, now people are going to come talk to me about crypto. And Bitcoin is not crypto. Okay? Bitcoin is the pristine asset in the space. Okay? Like gold. It is the pristine asset in the space. And then, like gold, there are a bunch of copies and a bunch of fakes and a bunch of wannabes. Okay? Everything else is a fake imitation. There are people behind it, there are companies, there are groups, there are financial institutions behind that promoting it, like Solana, like Ethereum. With Bitcoin, there is no central marketing department, there is no IT service, there is no crew, there is no person to go and complain about. So Bitcoin is its own asset, and fiat is a separate asset, and within fiat, crypto exists. Okay, so crypto is just a fiat monster child that is just stealing people's money. Okay, Bitcoin, the anti-riba monetary protocol. Bitcoin properties make it resistance to institutionalizing riba on the network. There is, at the core monetary protocol level, there is no riba, there is no loans, there is no growth of or printing of units to enter the market. Yes, there's a mining protocol that releases new Bitcoin, and there is and it slows down the new amount of Bitcoin entering the market, gets cut in half every 4 years. There's absolute scarcity, and Bitcoin has the potential to drive interest rates. I'll skip the haram halal question. We'll skip this. This is actually so I heard this talk, what I just gave you guys about Bitcoin, the monetary protocol, and how Bitcoin can save the world and all these things. And I listened to my friend who told me the story, and I was like, okay, man, I have Zelle and I have Cash App and I have all these things. Like, do I really need Bitcoin to do this? And this was in 2017. This was an iftar sponsored by PACPAC, Pakistani American Political Action Committee on DC. Trump was president the first time, and there was no White House iftar. And I got invited, and I ran into one of my friends there, and he told me, Subhan, you need to understand about Bitcoin. You're an attorney, you're active in the community, you need to understand about Bitcoin. And the people who are in the community here, I would tell you, you need to understand Bitcoin. Later that same month, subhanAllah, I was blessed enough to go to Jordan with Helping Hand to visit Palestinian refugees in Jordan. And we gave out aid parcels and spent time with the children, the refugee children there. And then during the last 10 nights of Ramadan in 2017, I was blessed enough to go visit Jerusalem. And I got to spend some time there. And as a Pakistani man, you see Palestinians and you want to help them. And so I did what I thought would, the way that I've been taught as a child. I tried to take money from my pocket and I tried to give it to somebody and said, here, I can help you. And he said no. He wasn't interested in my money. He took me by the hand. He took me to a shop and he said, buy something. Here was a man who didn't have a country, who didn't have a government of people who were fighting for him. He didn't have anyone. And here's a man who didn't want a handout. He didn't want someone else's charity. He wanted me, to buy something from him. There was dignity and honor and respect. That is when you are trying to buy something, you're engaging in commercial transaction. But when you try to buy something from the Palestinian in Jerusalem, or the Palestinian in the West Bank, or even the Palestinian in Gaza, it is in Israeli shekels. It is in Israeli shekels. And the Israelis control that money. They control how much money and where it goes, and they can confiscate it at any time. And that money is not even redeemable at Israeli banks. Okay? And so when he said this to me, that light bulb of what my friend was talking about Bitcoin being this freedom asset that's across time and space where I can send money, and at a protocol level, the way that Bitcoin works at a protocol level is that I send money directly to you, and it's directly to you. And there's no one in the middle of that transaction. No bank, no country, no government, no institution. No one can stop my transaction. Okay? That is a very powerful thought, that you are unlocking freedom as money. Okay? Because right now, the way that money works is that the money is printed at the Federal Reserve, then it is loaned out to the government, then the government takes that money and wages war around the world to force people to use the same fake money that they just printed. Okay? So that is the thought. I got to spend, alhamdulillah, I know time's up, I'm going to wrap this up quick. I got to spend Eid in Jerusalem, alhamdulillah. And then I got to go back to Jordan and see some children, and we were giving out toys to children on Eid. And this one boy, as I gave him a toy, he was so happy, and then all of a sudden he just burst out into crying. And as an American, I was like totally scared. What happened? What did I do? And I called somebody over and he spoke to him and he said, the boy, he was so happy that he got this toy, but then he remembered that it's Eid, that he got this toy, but his father was killed. And he's an orphan. So Bitcoin is freedom money at a protocol level. And I'm not here to have a discussion about all these things, Bitcoin, Palestine. I'll leave you guys to that. And Bitcoin Majlis, we're a nonprofit that talks about Bitcoin. I will leave for questions outside, I know, to save time. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.